What's up, everyone, and welcome back to the channel. Today we're diving deep into the history of one of modern hip-hop's most influential yet turbulent record labels, Gucci Mane's 1017, also known as the New 1017 or 1017 Eskimo. This is a story of incredible talent, meteoric rises, and heartbreaking falls. It's a story about loyalty, street politics, and the immense pressure of the music industry. So, let's get into the rise and fall of 1017 Records. To understand 1017, you have to understand its founder, Radric Davis, the one and only Gucci Mane. Big Guwop isn't just a rapper. He's an institution in Atlanta. His ear for talent is legendary. Long before he was the polished, healthy Gucci we see today, he was a kingmaker in the Atlanta trap scene. The original 1017, initially known as 1017 Brick Squad, was a force of nature. This was the era of Waka Flocka Flame, OJ the Juiceman, and a young, hungry producer named Lex Luger who would go on to define the sound of trap music for a generation. The energy was raw, authentic, and unstoppable. Waka Flocka, So Let's Do It, and Hardened to Paint weren't just songs. They were anthems that shook the entire country. The chemistry between Gucci's clever, laid-back flows and Waka's explosive ad-libs was undeniable. They were the dynamic duo of trap. Add OJ the Juiceman's unique AOK ad-libs and his own string of street hits, and 1017 Brick Squad felt like an empire in the making. They were more than a label, they were a movement. They captured the sound, the style, and the unfiltered reality of Atlanta street life. But as is often the case, with great success came great conflict. Internal disputes, creative differences, and public fallouts started to fracture the foundation of the crew. The most notable split was between Gucci and Waka Flocka Flame. What started as a brotherhood devolved into a highly publicized and bitter feud that played out over social media and in interviews. It was a tough look for the label, and it signaled the end of that first golden era. By the mid-2010s, with Gucci Mane facing significant legal troubles that led to a lengthy prison sentence, the original 1017 Brick Squad had effectively dissolved. It seemed like the empire had crumbled. However, a story like this is never that simple. After his release from prison in 2016, a transformed Gucci Mane emerged. He was focused, healthy, and ready to rebuild. He announced the relaunch of his label, rebranding it as the New 1017. This wasn't just about recapturing old glory. It was about building something bigger and better, learning from the mistakes of the past. Gucci positioned himself as a mentor, a CEO who wanted to guide the next generation of stars and give them the opportunities he had to fight for. And for a while, it worked spectacularly. Gucci's A&R skills were sharper than ever. He signed a roster of some of the most exciting young artists in the game: Pooh Shiesty, Foogiano, Big Scarr, Big Walk Dog, and Big Fizzle, among others. The New 1017 felt like the hottest label in hip-hop. The energy was electric. Pooh Shiesty's Back in Blood featuring Lil Durk became a global phenomenon. The track was everywhere, and its signature blurred ad-lib became an iconic sound. The label's compilation tapes, So Icy Gang, showcased the incredible depth of talent on the roster. It truly felt like Gucci had built a new dynasty, a modern-day Death Row Records for the trap era. They were dropping hit after hit, their chains were iced out, and their presence was undeniable. Gucci was the proud CEO, putting his artists front and center. He wasn't just signing them, he was co-signing them, appearing in their videos, and using his massive platform to launch their careers into the stratosphere. It was a beautiful thing to see. A veteran artist paying it forward and creating a new wave of superstars. The New 1017 was on top of the world. But then, history started to repeat itself, this time with even more tragic consequences. The very street authenticity that made the artist so compelling also brought immense real-world dangers. The label was soon plagued by a series of devastating legal issues. Foogiano was sentenced to a significant prison term. Pooh Shiesty, the label's brightest star, was also incarcerated, facing a multi-year federal sentence right at the peak of his career. It was a massive blow, halting the momentum of the label's biggest artist. Then, tragedy struck in the most profound way. In late 2022, the incredibly talented Big Scarr, known for his charismatic flow and compelling storytelling, passed away unexpectedly at the young age of 22. It was a heartbreaking loss not just for the label, but for the entire hip-hop community. His potential was limitless, and his death cast a dark shadow over 1017. Following his passing, disputes arose between Scarr's family and the label regarding funeral expenses, which played out publicly and created another round of negative press. These events created a perfect storm. The label's two biggest stars were behind bars, and another was tragically gone. Other artists on the roster seemed to fade into the background, without the collective momentum they once had. The constant stream of hits dried up, and the So Icy buzz began to quiet down. The new 1017, which had once burned so brightly, seemed to be fizzling out. Critics and fans began to question if the label was cursed, or if Gucci's strategy of signing artists so deeply entrenched in street life was inherently flawed and unsustainable. So, where does that leave 1017 today? Is it truly a fallen empire? It's complicated. The label is still active, and Gucci Mane continues to sign new talent. But it's undeniable that the powerhouse it was between 2020 and 2021 is a shadow of its former self. The story of 1017 is a cautionary tale. It shows the incredible eye for talent that Gucci Mane possesses, a skill that is truly generational. He has a gift for finding diamonds in the rough. However, it also highlights the immense difficulty of navigating the music industry when real-life problems and street culture collide with corporate aspirations. Perhaps the biggest lesson from the rise and fall of 1017 is about the fragility of success in hip-hop. Momentum is everything, but it can be lost in an instant due to legal troubles or unforeseen tragedy. It's a testament to how difficult it is to build a dynasty, and more importantly, how much harder it is to maintain one. Gucci Mane gave these artists a platform and a life-changing opportunity, but the risks that came with their lifestyles ultimately proved to be the label's undoing. The legacy of 1017, both the old and the new, is cemented in the sound of modern trap music. The influence of artists like Waka Flocka, Pooh Shiesty, and Big Scarr will be felt for years to come. While the label may not be the empire it once was, its impact is undeniable. It remains a fascinating and often tragic chapter in the story of hip-hop. What do you guys think? Was the new 1017 destined to fail? Or was it just a case of terrible luck? Let me know your thoughts down in the comments. Thanks so much for watching. If you enjoyed this deep dive, make sure to hit that like button. And if you haven't already, subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications so you don't miss our next video. We'll see you in the next one. Peace.